Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. So, welcome to Joyful June, people. If you're just joining us, you are right on time. There is never a better time than now than to choose to be joyful. And being joyful is a choice. That is most certain. So, I hope you're choosing to be joyful. For today, it was to rediscover a fun childhood activity that you can enjoy today. I don't know what time it is for you. It's 11:15 on the West Coast, but you know what? It doesn't matter if it's June. It doesn't matter what day it is. When you think about it, do something fun from your childhood. For me, I was alone on the playground at school. And I will tell you, when I have done yard duty, I have watched those children play on those different monkey bars, and those things have grown up. I mean, they have some really interesting things. I mean, they actually have the little foot things for them to climb, like a rock wall. They have these things where you go up in the center and you hold the bar and it makes you actually swing around by yourself. They have this thing where you twist the top and it twists your feet the opposite way and it like cranks your body around, and they just have like all these things. I mean, I can't even believe it. So I've been watching the children all year, and I thought, you know what? No one's here, and I'm going to play. I got on that twisty thing, and I started going in circles. I wanted to throw up. I was so sick from the dizziness. Okay, it was hilarious. Then I got on that twisty thing, and that was kind of cool, and I could see how you could really work your waist on that, which was super funny. I did not have the strength to swing myself across on the little crossbar thingies, but then I got on the swings and I just swing back and forth and back and forth. I got really high and watched the sky, and for a few minutes I was just a joyful kid on a swing, and it was fantastic. And the best part about it is I wasn't afraid it was going to break, okay? I wasn't afraid that I was going to exceed the weight limit. That was the awesome part. Okay, that was the good part of my day. I'm going to get to the more struggling part in a minute. But for those of you who are just checking in for Joyful June, I would like to tell you tomorrow's intention, and it's a really good one. And again, all of these are free, and they're just designed to bring joy to others, which inevitably will rebound and bring joy to ourselves. So this one is, ask a loved one what they feel grateful for at the moment. And the beauty of that is that you actually get to show interest in someone else. And ideally, you'll stick around patiently for the answer, okay? And they may be like, be grateful for what? What do we have to be grateful for, man? You know, and if that's their answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. You know what, a song just comes up. I was not thinking of that song, but I love that song. I actually was just praying my rosary, so Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. But yeah, you know what, it doesn't matter what their answer is. What matters is you gave them a moment. You gave them a moment to be heard. And people love to be heard. So ask a loved one what they feel grateful for at that moment. All right, I'd love to know how that goes. Okay, so Jules, how was your day, hon? You just seemed like super joyful. It must have been lovely. Yeah, that's a no. Oh my gosh, people. Did I mention that I'm a food addict? Did I mention that I've suffered from compulsive overeating forever? And you know, the thing is, okay, I'm a 12-stepper, right? And I've been in Overeaters Anonymous, and I know that's giving up my anonymity, but I'm me. I can give up my own anonymity. And it's always to be able to share a lesson, right? And so in Overeaters Anonymous, there's actually no diet per se, okay? They do have an old thing called the gray sheet, which is a really basic outline for people who need one, but they really believe that the higher power, which of course for me is God of the universe, will reveal to you your best way of eating. And they have sponsors, and none of it costs any money at all. It's just people loving people and being available to one another. But you get to find your own way in terms of what your food is. There's no, Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig or anything like that, though people are certainly welcome to use those things if it helps them. And of course, for me, it is absolutely being vegan and raw vegan in particular, because it allows me to still eat large quantities of food, which hasn't really changed for me, that desire, but it's bang for my buck, right? Because I can have a ton of food in the form of greens with very little calories. And so it's allowed me to be satiated. It's been healthy for my body. It doesn't provoke me in any way when I do it. And there's another phrase in Overeaters Anonymous, which is, it works if you work and it won't if you don't. Okay. So the program works if you work it and it won't if you don't. Well, I've been struggling, and this is typical for me. So for like 12 days, I was completely on, so excited, yay me. Day 13, I slipped. Day 14, slipped. Day 15, completely clean. Oh, good, we're back. Day 16, which is today. It got ugly fast. So let me just show you. So this is my lovely calendar that I've been doing, which is, again, to appease my inner child. One thing that might interest you is that I did give myself some urges anyway. Sorry, my lips are so dry. Why, Juliana? Because I ate cooked food. Oh, yeah. And what happens when you eat cooked food? I get so thirsty. I flip out. All of a sudden, I'm like licking my lips and desperately needing water. And even though I'm home, I was so dang thirsty, I grabbed a real water bottle, for which I'm going to ask you to excuse me a moment because I need water. I'm dying. I'm not kidding you. This is like my third one in a row, which you would say, well, good, you're getting your water in. Yeah, not if you knew why, which of course I'm going to divulge because that's who I am. But anyway, why am I getting urges? I'm going to tell you why. This urge jar is only for the things we've done right, and you never take away from it, and you never shame yourself for it. So if in a given day you blow it by the end of the day, if you had successes throughout, you get to reward yourself. And I often mention Tanny Raw, and I'll mention her again and again. She's a phenom on every social media platform for health. And one thing that she always says is to acknowledge what you did, but don't exaggerate what you did. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead and say, yeah, I blew it, but don't make it bigger than it needs to be. And so that's why it's super important that I take the time to actually record my food, because in recording my food, I keep things in perspective, right? So I did absolutely record my food, and I was able to see that I did some things right. Okay, so, and I'm just going to be babbling, and stay with me or don't stay with me, it's all good. But one thing is that I've been fasting on Tuesdays and Fridays for the Lord and for the planet, which I've said many times. And these are the... Really, Juliana? Yeah, because I have no brain cells because I totally poisoned myself. But okay, I can think, I'm still present. I mean, that's another thing. It's not like I just blew a month or a week or anything else. Like, calm down, okay? Every day you had something right, but you chose something wrong within that day. Like, keep it in perspective, right? Okay, so the sorrowful mysteries, which is Jesus's whole passion from being condemned to death to the crucifixion, is on Tuesdays and Fridays. And so I choose to fast until 5 o'clock. And every time I'm tempted and every tummy growl and everything else, I offer it up for those in need. And Lord knows, I know many people in serious need. Another thing that I've been doing is getting in 10,000 steps for the people who can't use their limbs or anything at this time. That miraculous healing will take place and that I can offer up my ability to walk. So these are some things that I've been doing. But on the days that I choose to fast, sometimes I end up freaking out when I finally eat. And today was no different. So I started to panic partway through the day. One of my horses got injured. What else is new? I'm so sorry. And it's Susie. And that poor little girl goes through so much. And she ended up getting like a puncture wound on her hip. She literally pulled her entire stall like 6 inches, which for an entire stall that's all connected and made out of metal and steel. And that was a lot of body energy. She panicked and it was really scary, but was it worth eating over? I don't know if that's what triggered me. I was overly concerned about a couple of things. Did that trigger me? I don't know. My husband was home today. Praise God. I love him so much, but you know, he eats differently than I do, and he eats. And I wasn't eating today, which he didn't notice, which I was thrilled with, because half the time when we're both home, it'll occur to him that I haven't eaten. But I just kept making sure that I had tea in my hand or water in my hand, and you know, it seemed like it was all good. So all of a sudden, I started obsessing about food. I tried to offer it up. It was like 4:45. I was freaking out. I kind of had forgotten that I usually allow myself a snack. I totally could have had a piece of fruit. I most certainly could have had cut up celery or carrots. I didn't. And that was probably a mistake right there. In thinking of my acronym HALT, right? Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, I probably could have thought about that. I didn't. When I finally ate, I had bananas with romaine and cinnamon and everything else. But here's what transpired. My husband made a proclamation about like 3 o'clock where he just decided he was done with the nonsense and he wasn't going to be eating the way he was eating anymore. He took cookies and chips and sorry for saying what the food was. I wasn't going to be specific, but he took a bunch of treats, let's just say, and threw them all away, which was so brave. And my little kid panicked and felt like, oh my gosh, he's wasting food and it's sugar too, and it's treats too, and what are we going to do? I don't even know. Before I knew it, I had stolen those things back out of the trash. It's a really old behavior. And hid them in a cupboard. Okay? So then I went about my business, and then finally, when it was just about 5 o'clock, I decided to put together those bananas and chia and romaine, and I suddenly had the grace to get those things out of the cupboard and throw them back away. So I did get them out and I was throwing them away, but I spilled half of it. Of course, are you kidding me? I had to turn myself in, right? I spilled half. So then my husband comes around the corner and I'm looking like a 3-year-old who's guilty and says, "Hun, why is that stuff out of the trash?" It's just tragic. It's so tragic. And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was feeling compulsive. It shouldn't be news to you that I'm a compulsive overeater, and I'm just throwing them away." And then I had to pick up the ones off the floor that had spilled. Well, he told me, you know, "I'm so sorry that you think you have to hide. I'm so sorry that you think you have to steal food from the trash. I'm so sorry that you panicked when you saw me." And I told him, "Hun, I was already throwing them away." Okay, it was a choice I'd made all by myself. I was already throwing it all away when you happened to come in, and I had already spilled the cookies. I didn't spill them in trauma or fear. But that just put me in a whole tailspin, total tailspin of a nightmare. So I went in and I was eating my bananas and romaine and trying to rejoice that I chose to care for myself. Ultimately, I had to take the trash out to the outside trash, and don't think I haven't gone out and eaten out of the outside trash, because I most certainly have. But I was able to do that, and he just kept saying that he was so sorry, and don't I know, one, of course, that he loves me no matter what, and he most certainly does, but that I'm a grown-up and that I'm welcome to eat whatever I want, and that I could go get all the junk I want, and that it's okay. And I so get that. I'm always answering to old voices in my head, and I'm so sorry for that. So anyway, I went on to dinner and things, but instead of choosing my best foods, which I had just done with banana and stuff, I ended up eating stuff that wasn't on my plan. And a tremendous amount, no. Was part of it on my plan? Absolutely, but it just wasn't what I was thinking. And even when it was all said and done, I'd only had an eating window of 3.5 hours, right? I mean, I started at 5 and I was done by 8 o'clock, 8:15, whatever. But it was sad. So I dared to give myself urges anyway. I rewarded myself for the courage to throw that food away. And that's valid. I rewarded myself for throwing the food away. I rewarded myself for taking the food out to the big trash and ensuring that I wasn't going to engage in it again. And, you know, for my little kid, I just give her a hug. So then, in terms of my sticker calendar, when you see my sticker calendar, and I know it's backwards to you and you won't see it, but you can see on these ones that have a double sticker, right here and right here, these ones with a double sticker. One of them says, keep trying. And that's for the food. And the other one says, great job, because I absolutely hit my 10,000 plus steps, right? So anyway, that's kind of where I am. It was a very dark moment with my food. It was a very dark moment, but because of the pouting, because of the weirdness of the day and everything else, when I got to 5 o'clock, I only had like 900 steps. And so I, despite my food, got on that rebounder, watched the Mass, said double rosaries, got to 10,800. When it was said and done, I'm still here being accountable to Jules Blessed Vegan. And, you know, I did many things right, and tomorrow is another day. And I keep struggling. I can speak. This is my super insane dry, my cotton mouth from daring to eat something cooked. But anyway, on those days that I'm choosing to fast till 5 o'clock, I'm struggling. That's not always true, but it seems to have been true the last 2 times. But it's not something I want to give up either. I'd rather rise to the occasion. So I'm still praying about that, but tomorrow's another day. So that's my truth. Thanks for listening if you stuck around to the end. As always, if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you, especially if you have a prayer intention. Thank you for your continued prayers for my nephew. He actually said a sentence. It wasn't nice. He said, get the hell out of my room. It's fair to say he's angry. I think he's very frustrated and angry. And, you know, he's been in the hospital for over 4 months. He's clean for the first time in forever, and it was forced upon him by his circumstance. And I think he's angry, and that's okay. But unfortunately, because of the COVID and everything else and not having access to family or anything, he doesn't have the tools he needs to deal with that. So that's most certainly more prayer. And also for my little friend who got hit on the bicycle. They did the 3rd surgery today. The whole thing is going to be a lot of work and a shock, but God is on the case. They took the tube out, and the person was able to speak. Non-coherent, you know, they're very confused and highly drugged, but they were able to speak and actually got up to go potty, which could not happen with double broken legs, but that was another conversation, right? So lots of prayers there, please. And for a third person who, in desperation, tried to save her dog in a car fire and was severely 3rd-degree burns on her hands, her arms, her chest. The dog died. And that's a local person, and she needs prayer as well. So lots of prayers and lots of rejoicing that in this moment we're provided for, and that we're breathing, and that there's hope. Okay, best of all, know that you're blessed.